Hey, you guys. I'm just hoping that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Yes. I'm going to turn this up here just to see. Hey, you guys. I'm just hoping that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Yes. Yes. I'm going to turn this up here just to see. There we go. Hi, Preston. I had it all set up on my. Are you guys coming back? Mm-hmm. We have some folks here. I'm happy about that. And this is working. So we're on Zoom. And if any of you are watching this and you'd like to join us on Zoom, that would be super. We have some folks here with us, but they've left the room. And Nathaniel, bring them back. Huh? Oh, yeah. They're going to have a little cuddle party. There we go.
Are you on?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm going to wait for you guys.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh my gosh.
Happy birthday.
They brought me a birthday cake. You guys.
You. Happy birthday, dear David. Happy birthday to you.
It's a little cake. Good, awesome.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday. We love you so much.
Thank you. Oh, that's beautiful. Wow, you guys totally. I was thinking, Nathaniel has got them in the room looking at pictures. Oh, that's so great. It's not an ice cream cake.
No.
Okay, good.
No,
So it
no.
won't melt. Wow, look at that, you guys. Thank you. That's beautiful. Yes, I had a birthday. I did just recently. Look at you.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Does anybody want cake? Okay, we'll wait.
Yeah, maybe we'll wait, eh? We're gonna wait. No cake for you guys. I'm. Wow. Nate, would you shut that off for me? I thought if I moved away, it would be. It's really hot.
Yeah, this thing throws off.
It throws off a lot of heat. There's a little fireplace, like a kind of a gas fireplace, and wow, it just churns off the heat. So welcome you guys that are here. Thank you. This is so cool, and welcome to those of you that are joining us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And I can't even see who all's there, but I do see that there are some folks on Facebook with us, and it's so cool. This is our second week of being together in person, and we were just talking about the weeks, the months when we couldn't do this, and the time that we spent kind of pining for community and for connection and for yes, we are we are social beings, and so I missed you guys, and Jen was just saying that week after week you tune in, and I was I was showing up, and often sitting by myself, or some people would come on the Zoom call, but it was a lot of it was I just kind of I found it, because I don't plan. It wasn't like I sit down and I've got this script I'm going to deliver. It really depends on who's there. And so I found it after a while, like it lost its energy. And so I thought, no, let's not push this. What seemed to really want to happen was to take a break. So I did. And so it's great to be back, though. To be doing this. We're not back. This is a 2.0. No back, eh? Okay, what are you saying? Just a second, I got it. Kimberly's asking for, I think she's asking for the link, maybe. Let's have a look and see what Kimberly said. Getting some messages here.
It was so cool to see like you pop on, or Bart pop on, or you pop on. But that one time you actually was like you were with David. Or no, you were on Zoom. Just to see people's faces
I
and
know.
hear them speak was like so refreshing and very intimidating. And I've never done once done.
Oh,
I've
really?
only had like 2 video calls from home. So
I'm coming right up.
it's like a thing I don't like
What?
Zoom calls or video calls.
Oh, okay.
And I was eating with my best friend, and she said, it's true, you don't get eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is so,
It's energy. It's a real thing.
yeah, absolutely, 100%. That's what I missed.
Oh, yeah, you're really. You know all of it.
Kimberly, where is the person?
I think I might be.
Oh, there we go.
No. Yeah. Oh, screw it.
Kimberly's asking where's the in-person taking place, and I'm going to give her the address.
Yeah, stay on it. Okay. Yeah, I got laid off because I told
Good move.
All right. So you guys, we're back. We're gonna kind of get going with this. Kathy's cutting cake right here. And was that open? Oh, good.
I closed it.
Is it right?
So do you know, while you're here, this close, tell us. We're not going to put you on video, but we'll just tell us, why you're here. Why are you here? Tell us what's up for you. Just, because you guys were really sharing, about what it's been like and
I'm gonna go back to when I first met you,
mhm,
and that was probably a year and a half ago.
mhm.
You okay with being on video?
Sure, David's already got me on it, so I'll just go with it.
Mhm.
So I went to visit you at your store,
Mhm.
and we chatted. And I thought, and I said to you, we're going to be friends.
Mhm.
And I think it was the piece you had. So I kept coming back to the Monday nights, quite scared at first, intimidated, meeting new people, coming in with all my stories, judging people, judging myself. Kept coming back Monday nights, and it got easier and easier to be myself, to be present. And I came to realize that I was so much alike everybody else. We were all kind of telling each other's stories.
Mhm.
So I found a safe place where I could be myself. And
Sweet.
yeah, that's my story.
And we're back.
We're back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was it the last few months? I mean, for you, did you have some, you were talking about some stress or some, times in your head or,
Challenging, very
Yes.
challenging. And not connecting with people face to face and being able to share was challenging. And also I found myself getting into my stories and actually believing them and going on some pretty crazy rides by myself.
Mhm.
Yeah, which was not fun.
Nice.
And that's what the isolation
Yes.
did. Yeah.
Well, I hope that for me in this time, we've been doing I'm going to put myself back
Yes.
on, we've been doing our daily reading and the daily talk, and
Yes.
you've been part of that, haven't you?
Yes,
Has that been helpful?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
for me too. Like,
Huge.
you're there, so I'm always saying, well, you guys have no idea what a gift this is for me to be able to do this, and I mean, it's fun that people show up, but I think if I was just in front of the camera talking and reading the daily reading, it would, I mean, it's nice that people are there, but just doing it, it's like, because I have to be so present,
Mhm.
and it's been my connection with a lot of the world and the people in the world, that daily, it's been a gift. We started at the 1st of May,
Mhm.
and we were just talking a few minutes ago that we're going to do the Bhagavad Gita coming up, but it's going to be separate from that one. I'm committing to 2 things a day, and I might not do the Gita every 7 days a week. We might do it like 4 days a week, like at Monday, Wednesday, Friday, kind of a thing, and then until we get through the book. But I love our connection online, and there's some wonderful people that are there, also on YouTube, that I wish they could come and be with us here, and because their comments are beautiful. So thank you for persisting, for hanging in there, for being part of my circles through this time.
And thank you for continuing. Yeah. And after a while, I was like, they're not going to meet without me. I'm going. I'm going to be there too.
Well, I'm glad you're here. This room I think we could easily have 10 here without being too, COVID irresponsible. And 10 or 12, we kind of spread out a bit. I think if we had 10, some of us might have to mask up if we're feeling, but anyway, it's beautiful that we're here.
Mhm.
So how's it been for you? Can I?
I'd rather not.
Okay. Just tell us. Jen's here, and how's it been for you the last?
Yeah, hard and challenging, and made me realize how much I do need physical in the same space interaction, especially with the spiritual community.
Mhm.
Helps keep you grounded and what's the word? Kind of responsible to your own
Mhm.
self and practice, right?
Mhm.
Those Monday meditations were a really big, huge part of my life.
Mhm.
But it was so great just to see your face pop online and hear your voice. Like Kathy said, you have this calming, magnetic, familiar energy about you that instantly would calm me. So thank you. And it seems like every time I tuned into one of your readings or whatever, it was really what I needed to hear that day. Really big time. It would give me shivers. Like, so grateful for that because it's exactly what I needed to hear.
Mhm.
And some guys I'd be working, just happen to hop on and see you and just catch that even 2 minutes and
Mhm.
change my whole day.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Did you like the 12-step theme?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's just so many great things to come from that, right?
Isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
that everybody can benefit from,
Yeah.
not just someone in a 12-step program.
well, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I remember, I'll tell a little story. I dated a girl in Australia, a beautiful woman, and and I didn't meet her in any community really. I met her at a coffee shop, but that's a whole other story. And this one evening, I was going to go to a 12-step meeting, in Australia and in Mullumbimby. So she came. I invited her to come, and she came. And she, after the meeting, she said, "Oh my God, why are you guys hiding this? This is such a, oh my, this is so beautiful. Those steps, the first time she'd been exposed.
Yeah.
And that's, wow, why are you hiding it?" And I said, "Well, honey, we're actually not hiding it."
Millions.
Yeah, there's millions of people are using it every day, and it's also it's not easy to recognize that our thinking um, is screwed up. That we can't trust our minds, and I mean, which is step one. Or powerless over some substance or some thing in our lives, whether it's I mean, the list is huge of where we go into addiction, but the big thing that for when people get real sobriety or spiritual recovery in the 12 steps is when they recognize that, wow, I'm addicted to my crazy thinking. And so that's been the theme of that morning, over and over again, to come back to step one, and which is that our life was unmanageable. And when I first came into recovery, I thought that just meant because I couldn't pay my bills, or because I, didn't keep a job, or because I wasn't good in relationships. But those were all symptoms of the fact that my thinking was self-centered and selfish, and so that's been, for me, to go into that every morning, to present that every morning in different ways, has been great for me, because I'm it's not my natural state. My natural state, all of our natural state, is actually unconditional love. But how I had been formed, by my belief systems and my conditions, the traumas of my life, whatever, had separated me from that. And so what I looked like my natural state was my selfishness. And so that we do in the 12 steps, identify that, like clearly identify it, like unbelievably clearly identify it. That Bill has a chapter that says selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles, driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking. We step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. So, it's the root of my problem is that I'm living from a place of, what about me? What's in it for me? Am I going to lose something? Am I going to get something? What am I going to get? Me.
And look at how that consumed the world for a real brief period of time.
Well, it's actually it's prevalent everywhere. It really is. And I mean, there's some wonderful people who live, who don't live in that, but many of us who are in addiction live in that. That's, our fears are all self-centered fears. Fear is never, altruistic. It's always, it's never, even if we're fearing for others, it's about how it'll affect us. And so fear is always based in selfishness and self-centeredness. And so when we have fear is a great signpost, because it says, when we see it, there's fear, and how you can get on that train. We talked about it earlier. You get on the fear train and you build the story so big that,
So much information.
yes, you got to hide under the bed. Right? Or do something. And for a lot of people, the doing something is having a drink, smoking a joint, something to take us out of it, And what I hope to do, my mission is to give us all a way to come to a spiritual awakening, as opposed to using something to avoid the moment.
Or to feel better.
Yeah. And so, and cheaper.
And very quick, like when I would just, ground myself in get into the tub and do my water meditation and stop procrastinating it, or getting caught up in my own story to waste my time. Could be meditating.
Mhm.
It was like so easy.
Mhm.
Such an easy alternative.
So when you're in the tub, do you feel present?
Oh, 100%.
You just boom. You're
Like
in-
a
yeah.
like a net of safety and calm
Yeah.
and peace.
So you're in your body,
Exactly.
in your breath. Because I've talked often about breath, how breath brings us
So important.
into the moment.
An instant smile comes across my face, and I feel the support of unseen beings, and I feel this reminder of, what we think is so big, so huge, so it's really washed away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When my experience with being present or being in the moment, whether it's, whether I have to bring myself to that with a prayer, because sometimes I have to bring myself because I'm also caught up in, fear is coming in, or story, oh, this happens and that happens. I can get on the story train too.
Mhm.
And I did today actually, and I called a buddy, because it was like, oh, it was really, really got me earlier today. And I called a friend and I said, you got a minute? And he said, yeah. And I started telling him what was happening in my, and he started laughing. And like within 60 seconds, we were both laughing, and so it was beautiful to be able to reach out sometimes, and just say, hey, I got this crazy story running in my head, and I just needed to share it, and boom, as soon as it came out, we're both laughing, and he's quite an awakened guy, and we were both like, okay, thanks very much. I could have hung up in 60 seconds, but we talked for a bit after. But so that happens, doesn't it? And the practice of bringing ourselves into the moment. um, I believe that we've made such a story up about God that we don't realize that what we're connecting with in that moment is God. So we've been taught and conditioned to believe that God is separate, that we have to appease him. I watched a show the other day where the one of the big tribes in Central and South America years ago, a long time, the Mayans, were doing, sacrifices, so that they really believed that God was separate. So they were sacrificing people actually in this show that I watched, and that's the kind of the extreme idea of separation from source, But here we are, you know, in a society now where we're just regular folks, and we've recognized that we are one with that, and when we're in the moment, when we're present, we're connected. We are it. We're not just connected like it's something separate we're connected with. We realize that we are we yeah we are divine beings, and but not separate from the divinity of this is all divine. And I was sharing with a young fellow the other day, because Maslow, you've heard of Maslow. And Maslow has his hierarchy, and at the top of his pyramid is self-realization, and very accepted philosophy or theory of life. At the bottom is survival, and we kind of move into at the top self-realization, which is not that different than Hawkins with his at the top Christ consciousness. In his scale of 0 to 1,000, but he goes into a lot of detail of how we can live. Actually, all of us can be below 200, and in the 500s, all in the same day. We're full of unconditional love and bliss, and 2 hours later, we're swearing at the bus driver, and angry or caught up in desire, but self-realization, what is it that we're realizing?
There is no self.
Well, yes, no separate self, yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I love, Maslow's self-realization is we realize that we are one. We are not separate. And knowing that, and then experiencing that, then it's, we just always go back to that spot. It becomes a practice of and it's not like going back to it, but in a way we do I do anyway, drop back in my old story, and which has been very persistent.
What's your old story?
Huh?
What's your old story?
Well, my old stories, not good enough, not smart enough, not very likable, unlovable. That's the kind of the story I came out of my childhood with. It's in the cellular level of the being, and so sometimes I can be in different degrees of that, but that's the core of it.
It seems to be very common for most people.
Yeah.
That's where they come from.
Yeah.
And also a feeling of lack, that something is missing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mhm.
suffering to
Mhm.
constantly be in that place of lack.
So not good enough is like lack, isn't it? Yes. So the other side of not good enough or lack is wanting, isn't it? Always waiting for something better
Change.
or to change or instead. So all of that takes us out of the moment.
Yes.
I was gonna say when I meditate, I feel the most complete. I feel the most balanced and complete. And knowing that there's nothing more I need, everything I need is completely right here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it doesn't last that long.
No.
You guys, can you hear us? There's a few of us in the room, and we've been. I just wondering. Just post on Facebook or wherever you're watching if you can hear us. It'd be nice if you're welcome to come and join us on Zoom too. But I'm just hoping that they can hear you guys. I know they can hear me. Nathaniel, so what's happening for you? How did your last 6 months go? I know, but I'm not, but and how are things now? And how's your awakening coming?
So the past 6 months, I feel like I changed quite a bit. One of the biggest things that I noticed over the period of COVID is just how important it is to be around people, to have people with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that I should probably get closer to the camera so people can hear what I'm saying.
Well, no, I think they can hear you.
Yeah. So being separated from people was a challenge for me.
Is he in the frame?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was challenging. I didn't like being away from people. I got lonely. I got a little bit stir crazy. But the good thing about it was I got a chance to sit off work for 2 weeks straight, paid. So there's no stress about money or anything. So I just got to sit there and meditate and kind of get a little bit closer to myself, So that changed me. That changed me for sure because those 2 weeks off, I was just meditating, and then after that, I just didn't want to go back to work. So I don't know. It was a great time. Wound up meeting a new girlfriend to hang out with. So that's fun because you're really talking about things that come up in our minds that are a little bit crazy, definitely a little bit crazy for sure. So with the new girlfriend, I get to face the challenge of my paranoia, my fear of people. I'm like, oh no, I can't trust her because I don't think that I can trust anybody. Right? And so I deal with that a lot in my day-to-day life. And it came up with her too. I can't trust her. She's gonna do this. She's gonna do that. She's gonna do this. She's gonna do that. She's gonna do this. She's gonna do that. This is all going on in my head. So I just get to sit and watch that stuff happen. Just see it, feel it. And we get all tense sometimes and stuff. So she'll say to me, what's going on with you. Feel your vibes changing. You know, 'cause the stuff that I'm thinking is making me freaking tense. You know, but I know that all comes from inside of me. There's nothing that she's done. It's just stuff, the stories that I made up in my head, my own fears and stuff like that.
So you're clear that you're not your thoughts.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I'm not my thoughts. You know, my thoughts are influenced by a lot of things. You know,
So who is the watcher?
well, for the past couple of years, I've been the observer of my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like even when I have that tension in my body and things, you know, I don't feel like I'm lost in that moment anymore. You know, like I don't feel like I'm stuck in my story when that stuff is happening to me. I just know that my mind is affecting me. You know, that I can at least have enough control over my mouth or my body not to let things escalate.
So sometimes when the thoughts come, you even feel the tension in your body.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, if you pay attention to fear and all that stuff, it definitely manifests in your muscles. We get tense. It
Contracting.
causes stress, right? Physical stress. That stuff causes sickness, right? So I've been doing that. That's why I do a lot of yoga. Because it relaxes my muscles. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I suffer from complex PTSD, which is a lot of traumatic events in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a lot of fear very often. Right? And it manifests itself in my body and I get uptight and tense and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
yoga helps me to relax my body and meditation helps me to control my thoughts.
So it's amazing that you have such an amazing roommate.
Yeah, I got lucky. That's why I hung out with you. I like the Zen vibes in here. You're smart, you're wiser than me, so it's good. You can call me on my bullshit.
Well, we have an amazing little Zen thing going, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, the house is today. Nathaniel was playing some tunes downstairs, and I'm upstairs. I'm like, wow, this is actually what I was hoping for. You know, that he's down and drawing, and you know, so we can create a space that's conducive to, you know, being present and you know, and we've done that. Actually, we're looking for another roommate. So I throw it out there. Has to be Zen though.
Yeah.
So you've been meditating?
Yeah, I'm meditating quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't meditate like this every day, but
Mhm.
many days I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do meditate just throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things, I mean, my practice, everything in my practice is to bring me back to the moment. You know, because when I'm here, then all of the shit thoughts are gone. You know, all of the story, I'm not good enough, is gone. It's just, I'm here. And in the moment, nothing's missing ever. It's just like, oh, that's just all bullshit.
Yeah.
And over and over again. So meditation is one of the ways we're going to meditate in a couple of minutes. We get to, if nothing else, I mean, I have sometimes meditations where all I'm doing is watching my crazy mind, you know, but I'm there and I'm aware of the fact that I'm just watching my crazy mind. And God bless my crazy mind, by the way. You know, I have this idea that I don't want to be against my mind, the mind. You know, we're sharing the same space together. So it's my personal roommate. It's just,
So true though. It's so
yes,
true.
you know, if I'm arguing with it all the time, you know, it's not going to be much fun.
You don't touch yourself.
Yeah. So sometimes I'm just like compassionate with my crazy mind. I'm like, oh, poor baby, you know, and because if I'm not, I'm in stress. You know, I'm stressed about, you know, instead of something outside of me, I'm stressed about my thinking, you know, and then it's, you know, it's like a little trap, you know, locked in that. So, to meditation, we're going to do that in a minute. Anything else you want to share about how it's been the last little while?
No, it's been pretty good. I feel all right. Not working, a little stressed over money. Trying not to let that hold me down.
Money always shows up.
Yeah. It's been good.
Mhm.
There's been lots of learning that I've been doing. Self-exploration, so the time off has been good for that. And
Yes.
the new relationship's been great for that.
In your art.
And my art's been, yeah, that's been fun, you know. I think in my art, like you talk about not being enemies with our minds, you know. What's a healthy way that I could express some of this frustration that I feel or some of these fears that I have? Oh, I just draw it on paper to sit with it for a while. Right? But that can be painful too, sitting with a painful emotion for that length of time. Some of the things that I want to draw, I won't even draw because I've been doing something for my brother and I just think about my brother all the whole time. I'm sitting there getting all these old memories coming back and stuff. Some of the stuff's painful to sit with. But I think some of it's worth it to sit with because I think sitting and thinking about those things can be healing. You know, it's good to express it and then instead of hiding it inside of myself till
Mhm.
to be talked about.
Mhm. That's one of the things that we do here. One of the things that we have more roommates that I'm hoping that we have somebody that's also wanting to talk about stuff when it comes up. And like I called my buddy today. I called to share what was happening in the moment. And as soon as it was on the table, it was like hilarious.
You and I do that together. We have quite long talks about all kinds of stuff.
Yes, it's ongoing. It is, and I mean that's the beauty of having community. And I was thinking today it would be so great if we could do this, 3 nights a week. But really, it would be pretty cool. Did I get you in the shop? And so we're not very high tech here, but it's working. And what are the other things that bring you into the moment? She has a bath. Hiking.
Nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So then do you hike alone sometimes?
Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I like to hike with people who are also on the conscious path.
Yes. No pun intended.
Yeah. And it's just like one big day of meditation, 8 hours.
Oh, so maybe not a lot of chatter, just
Presence.
nice. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So next year, I have to get my knee
I was gonna say,
working.
take me on an easy walk.
Yeah.
Do a group.
Start
Yeah.
slow.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. All right. We just talk about that. We might be able to do a Saturday before the snow,
Yes.
like a 3 or 5K, not too steep.
Yeah.
And I'd like that. Would you like that? Nate?
I'm not much of a hiker. It's only 5K.
Yeah.
It's so grounding
Yeah.
to be out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every day I can.
So that's a beautiful way to come into the moment.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
tons.
Powerful. Connect with ourselves.
Nate gets in the moment doing art, right?
Yeah, I use breath a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
I use breath a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm lucky I can see too. I was blind. What I do? A lot of time I just look around.
So again, being here. Mm-hmm. It's such magic. A teacher of mine, Paul Lowe, I mean, he just said it a million times. Be here now. Over and over again. I'll be like, okay.
Sounds so simple.
Well, I've been saying live in the moment for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So cliche.
Mm-hmm.
And I've only started doing it in the last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was trying to get there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But it and as well this last year I certainly jumped level in that, or jump level, became more realized what that meant, that when I was in my mind, which is never in the moment, it's either in the past or in the future. Often in the past, it's a fear of regret sometimes, and in the future, it can be fear but it can also be, it takes me out of the moment in the future's expectations. Wow, this is going to happen. Or hope. Even hope is a traitor, really, because hope takes us, out of the moment. So I think if we're going to live at that level of not being present, then maybe hope is important, because hope gives us something to but I think if we actually want to be present, if our desire or our draw is to be connected with, in the moment with source, be aware of who we are, then hope is
Not necessary.
not necessary. Yes. It's kind of bullshit, isn't it? Yeah. As is, this is off topic, as is trust.
You had a whole talk on that one time.
Mhm.
Sometimes I leave and I just want to like have a one-on-one with you a bit more about it because
Well, we can talk about that. I mean, trust is is an idea that somebody is going to behave in a certain way. It's totally out of the moment. It's a trust is based on us needing or wanting something.
what about trusting yourself?
Don't. That's step one. Guaranteed. It's where all the trouble is.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But we've been lied to.
But trusting yourself, well connected. Trusting.
Then you're not trusting yourself in the sense of your old self, Jen, whatever the story is that percolates in there, of who you think you are, who David, who he thinks he is, can't be trusted. And, not from my lower self or some teachers call it the self with the big S, which is self-realization, or the small s self. And so, and the trouble with the lie is we're all hiding it. We all know it. What's that?
Just a shadow work.
Yeah, we're all hiding it. We're pretending that we're okay. I'm okay. And or we're at one level we recognize something's missing, and we're trying to manipulate life, trying to get through it, and we know that there's something's not right. We're missing. There's this car's got everything but no carburetor. Damn good looking car, but it will not really start. Paul used to say, would you like to live in your full potential?
No, you are.
Well, no, not when we're living from fear or from a small self. I think it's just right there. It's like, it's not something I have to learn, but I just took me forever to realize what he was saying, that my full potential was totally right there. I just was so full of doubt and fear and guilt and shame and all, stuff about myself, this idea of me that I not good enough, not tall enough, not, good enough lover, not a good, not handsome enough. All the story that was there. And lots of people have it on the other side. They actually believe that they're God's gift to the world, but it's still ego.
Yes.
And every once in a while I'll get that too, where I have these grandiose plans to conquer the world, first the neighborhood and then the world, and it's just, again, it's not really, I'm not here, full potential is in the moment. If you, me, us, could be guaranteed connection to infinite intelligence at every moment, would we be interested?
I don't know, that sounds kind of annoying.
I was gonna say, it sounds
What
a bit
everybody was
overwhelming.
Well, it's not that we know whatever anybody's thinking. It's just um, I listened to actually a friend of mine. I won't mention his name, but I'll tell you later. Did a video the other day, and it was a personal video, and he was sharing in his video that he was afraid. So this is an influencer here in town, well-known fella, and is that me? That he was afraid, and that he was worried that there was conspiracy, and that people were setting fires in California on purpose, and that all of this stuff, and that there was going to be a right-wing takeover, and he said, I know on one level that it's silly, that I'm afraid, but I'm feeling this, and if so, the fear is never in the moment. The fear is always about something out there, right? We're going to be discovered that something we did back there, or something out there is not going to go the way we think it should. So we're in that fear. And he was so, in it. And I was surprised. And I messaged him after, and I said, if we're really here in each moment, what we need will be provided. Our fear won't change the world or what's going to happen, and we miss all of our full potential if we're possibly salting away enough food to last for 6 months in the basement. You know what I mean? And or digging a hole and in the floor so we can hide. And people are doing that, and because they're not in the present, they're not in. And so I just shared with them. I spoke last night. I don't know if you caught my talk last night about against this. And if we're really here, then nothing's missing. All of that story. And you talked about it earlier, how you were watching the news and watching the news and watching the news. And sometimes I watch the news, and it's hilarious because they're all caught in this story.
And now it's not just the news, it's social media, everyone's opinion, everyone's story flying at you, everyone's.
You can shut that stuff down so much more peaceful.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, again, you can be in a concentration camp in Germany and be at peace. So it isn't about changing the outside. It's always about being here now. And so I don't spend a lot of time. Actually, it's funny because my social media doesn't have that stuff. I don't know why, but it just doesn't come. Maybe because if it does come, I haven't been opening it or don't look at it. So the algorithms don't send it to me because I don't have a lot of interest in it. My social media is just full of love. And, it really is. It's like all of these people sending, uplifting, generally stuff. I'll start sending you some. So if there was another answer to, having a peaceful life, having living at our full potential, being serene. Well, does anybody have any idea? Are there any other thoughts? Is there another way to live?
There sure is.
What's that?
It's not a very pleasant one.
Jails, jails, institutions, or death.
Yeah. It's not pleasant for me. Lots of people don't seem to feel the need to escape their own thoughts and emotions because it's not destructive to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's understandable. I think there's definitely not everybody needs the conscious path.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's more ways to live and still be happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're not all called. That's for sure.
And even those of us who chase consciousness, or even some of the teachers of it, not always 100% love and light.
Well, I don't think any. I don't think any.
I think they're just more aware of the depths that they can go to with their negative emotions, and that it can be really destructive for their type of mind.
Mm-hmm. So what are you saying?
I mean, I think that's, lots of people just, I guess, don't really need to pray and meditate and don't need spirituality the way that I do, the way that some of my friends do.
Mhm.
Need it. Maybe they already have it.
Mhm.
Okay? Maybe they're already more awake than I think. Maybe they're more conscious than I am. So
And-
they're spiritually connected.
And I guess it doesn't really matter, is it? You know, because nobody can, we can't tell. Because even the fellow who's at the front of the room, who's, you know, seems to be the most spiritual, you know, might end up jumping off the bridge.
Right.
You know, and so it, you know, in the moment is only when, you know, when we have it. I mean, every one of us could be jumping off the bridge, and I'm not going to ask that question online, but almost everybody I know has considered the bridge at one form or another, you know, and almost everybody I know that will, if they're being honest, has thought, I got to get out of here, you know, and this is not working, and so I like, I don't necessarily trust me and even my own experience, although, but I do, like, our buddy Bill Wilson. You know, I think even though Bill had depression after his awakening, you know, he went through struggles. You know, he really had a message that went so deep that 85 years later, you know, we're talking about the 12 steps now, and 85 years later, millions of people have been affected and lifted up. Some have had the full promises and are living, you know, an amazing, almost, you know, bliss-filled life. You know, some have moved on to other teachings, but are, you know, living awakened. Some are just improved their lives enough that they're able to, you know, have a job and be, you know, a dad or a mom. Or, you know what I mean? And nobody knows what's in it, you know. But my prayer, can I tell you my prayer?
Go on. I'm here.
My prayer for years and years was been to show me the whole mosaic. You know, I often, you know, I often pray in the shower, and to show me the whole mosaic. You know, what is going on here, and it was only in this last year or two that I realized that the whole mosaic was available to me always, except that my selfishness and self-centeredness kept me from seeing. My eyes could not see, and the beauty of who we are, and that'd been my prayer forever. Of course, we have to be careful what we ask for. In a way, you know, because sometimes, you know, if I don't know, you can't look back and see anything different than it is the way it is, but you know, so I'm just really grateful, and that the, you know, the things that have come, and yeah, and forgive me, but I see you as also messengers. That, you know, there's so many of our friends and people in our world that would love to hear our sincere, you know, message of the changes that have happened in our lives. You know, and I learned from Paul. No, I learned from Napoleon Hill years ago. You know who Napoleon Hill is? You do. Napoleon Hill wrote a book years and years ago called Think and Grow Rich. And you ever heard of the book? Anyway, it was, of course, more. It was about thinking, right? And rich is a relative term. We always put it in the idea of money, but I don't think I've ever been richer than I am today. And there doesn't seem to be any cash around, but that's okay. It's not about cash anymore. It's not about it. It's just so. um, Napoleon Hill said, "Help enough people get what they want, and you get what you want." And if what we want is to have peace of mind, we want is to have serenity. Bill incorporated it in the 12 steps. He said, "Okay, go and give this away, and it'll grow for you." It doesn't actually work long term if we don't. Because if we're not giving it away, it's like not watering the flower. It will die, and we can't keep it. So that's the beauty of this. And so whether, like you said, this year, you were on the phone calling people, how you doing? Just sharing our love. If what we'd all like to have is more love in our life, then give it away. Yeah, just how you doing? Do you want to come over for tea? And because love, I think, is an action word. It's fixing somebody's car is an expression of love. Somebody else's car. For them. Whatever we get to do, and I think this brings us into the moment. My expression, of course, is, thy will be done, thy will be done, thy will be done. Show me how I can be of service. My prayer often is, show me how can I help? Bring me, how can I be of service?
Mm-hmm.
God, show me how I can be of service. So those are my little prayers, all the time. And those bring us into the moment, instead of my old prayers, which were, oh gosh, I sure hope somebody comes to the store and buys something today. So, even though in a way those prayers were so I could pay the rent. And anyway, prayer brings us into the moment, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Right there speaking of that.
Yeah.
I think sharing with people and connecting with people face to face and trying to be present, communicate with them present. I think that brings me to
A lot of things are misunderstood digitally, not have the energy of body language or anything. And then I get extra. What do you mean that?
Yeah.
It's, we're meant to be in person. We're meant to have human contact on a regular basis. Right?
Well, and it's nice. We love human contact, but let's say that you were in solitary for months on end.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go crazy there if your thinking was all about not having human contact. So great way to learn to be present, wouldn't you say?
Well, I think we all had to find a way to get over that for a while, right?
Yeah, because we
possible.
we couldn't go out.
Yeah.
I cheated a lot, but but
we had it pretty good.
We did have it pretty good over here. Yeah, and we did lots of 12-step work, and we had each other, and we had for a while another roommate, and so we just kind of sailed through in a way. But I missed you guys. So those are my little things about how do we be in the moment. Meditation, prayer, service, gratitude. Yes, yeah.
Yes.
My little thank you prayer, but it's not really mine. It was Osho. No,
Muji.
Muji. Yeah. Have you watched any Muji?
Oh yeah.
Have you?
Mm-hmm. Just hearing of.
Isn't he great?
Voices,
Yeah. He's so great. One day I was watching him and he said, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then he just kept saying it. He must have said it for like 5 minutes and he told us, he said, this is a prayer. And I was like, I've said it lots, but it went to a different level of being present, in the thank you. Can I share one more thing?
Mm-hmm.
In the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, I was talking last night a bit about, on that video I did, about this fellow who was in complaint about what he thought was happening in the world. And complaint comes out of judgment, right? So he was judging that something wasn't right, and that that things are wrong, that we're in a conspiracy. So he's got this complete judgment and a complaint. And complaint and judgment are also a resentment, aren't they? Yes, the resentment. So he's in resentment towards a whole thing he thinks is going on. In this world now, it's so obvious we can't tell what's really going on. We're really pressed on it. It's just an idea. We think we know. So there's these things that are happening. People have grabbed our fears, and they're using, they're kind of, so what, we can't even resent them. and I read, would you hand me that for a second?
Mhm.
In the book, I read this little piece that is amazing on resentments. Because no matter what the resentment's for, how do we get past it?
Prayer.
Yes, we have to, and what does prayer do? It brings us into the moment.
Mhm.
Prayer brings us into the moment. So the resentment's a gift in a way, because we can use it, just like fear can be a gift, because we can use it to bring us to prayer, to bring us into the moment, and we practice that. And so if you're caught somewhere, if anybody's caught in some sort of a resentment or anger towards some imagined conspiracy, I'm not saying it's not happening. I'm just saying that, as we move through whatever's happening, the world needs people who are there with love, not who are there with anger. And so we can be those love people. And because on the other side, whoever's conspiring, whoever's doing whatever they're doing, they're full of fear. And we're meeting their fear with our fear. And guess what? Everybody gets sucked down the same old drain, So how do we get out of it? It says, though we did not like their symptoms, and the way these disturbed us, they, like ourselves, were sick too. Freaking magic, isn't it? We asked God to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. So no matter what it is that we see, the extreme right, the extreme left, and religion or whatever, okay, we ask God to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. When a person offended, we said to ourselves, this is a sick person. How can I be helpful to him or her or them? God, save me from being angry, thy will be done. It's beautiful, isn't it? And it's just not from a story from the past. We can use it, it's like step 10, isn't it? And avoid retaliation argument. We wouldn't treat sick people that way. If we do, we destroy our chance of being helpful. Cannot be helpful to all people, but at least God will show us how to take a kindly and tolerant view of each and every one. So whatever the story is, we can come back to that prayer that brings us into the moment. And then we're like, oh, free. We're free, and it doesn't matter what happens. Our anger or fear isn't going to change it. Yeah, our anger or fear may enhance whatever's happening, may make it bigger, when we're pushing against it, cause a bigger explosion. When we're there with love, when we're leading a parade of love, love is, open the Red Sea, baby. It's a metaphor, but still, love heals.
I texted those words to somebody just a few days ago.
Yeah, it's real, and so, but we're here, I believe, learning to be more conscious, so that we're not caught in the trap of our own crazy minds. The trouble is that the mind has the key to unlock the mind. So it's kind of, we got to go in through and the mind to get in a way, to,
Love our crazy mind.
yes, yeah. So we need to romance it a bit.
Tea and biscuits with the beans.
Yeah.
We have to romance that old mind a little and tell it it's just fine. Everything's good. So I think I have no idea how long we've been doing this. Anybody got a? Oh, okay, we're good. It's time for meditation.
Nice.
Yeah, we've been kind of yakking for about an hour and 15 minutes. And before we meditate, I'm just so happy you came.
Happy to be here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love it if I stir things up for you.
Yep, you have.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
know.
good thing.
Sometimes the stuff that we've come out against, we've established even our own identity around our againstness. We're and it gives us some comfort to be against things, but it's short lived and it doesn't heal, and so yeah.
I'll comment something, which is kind of funny. When I'm watching your videos in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
there's been a couple times where I've had resentment, and you're talking about love and it heals. And I'm like, that damn David, I'm gonna go over there and have a talk with him and tell him that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Because I've got resentments and they're real, and he doesn't know what they are. And if he was me, he wouldn't say it's always love.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's bullshit, right? And I
Mhm.
can see it's bullshit. But there is me resisting,
Mhm.
fighting with my mind.
Mm-hmm. I've been waiting for you to come. I say, if you'd like to come talk, I'm here, because great what you just shared. Thank you. And yes, and I am available to, to be more personal.
But then it's gone.
Yes.
Because it's just my resistance, and I see it and I release it.
Good.
And I want to hang on to it because it's part of my identity, and
Yes.
it's giving me
Yeah.
something, right?
Yeah.
Identity.
Yeah.
But it's not serving me. So
Yeah.
I have to release
Yeah.
it.
We have lots of us hold on to, especially around relationships, old relationships, loves that changed form, and we're angry at some woman or some guy. I have one with my second wife that sometimes comes up. It's like it's a story about her that is in there, and it comes up, and I'm like, oh my fucking bitch, and then it's gone. I know it's not even me anymore. It's just an old story, and sometimes it peaks up. It says, oh, I wonder if he's open for this today, and is that kind of like that sometimes?
Yeah.
And I've told the story, and sometimes I've told it. I thought, like that, I have to clean that up now. It's just a,
Yes.
yeah, I have to, because I what I've done wasn't loving, and wasn't, yeah.
And when I get annoyed, it's not even you I'm annoyed
No.
at, but it's really,
It's the principle.
yes, it's
Yeah.
my own resistance, and I'm
Would you shut
fighting
that off for me?
to hang on to it.
Thank you.
Because I'm as comfortable in you.
Yeah. And it served me, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why
But
that's why I tell us to look at our resentments towards principles. Because when you're actually frustrated with this and telling him love healed, you believe that. So you're mad at him. But you're not mad at him, you're mad at what he's trying to tell you. So you're mad about the principle. That's how it works.
Okay.
That's the thing with this from the 12 step.
Mm-hmm. Love, like God, has a lot of stories around it. Like if I were to ask all four of us were to share, our, Reader's Digest description of love, they would be four different descriptions, four different kind of ideas. And many of us think that, judge love or judge a relationship that was supposed to be a loving relationship, or judge because we had a romantic idea of love, or we had a love that was based on trust, or we had a love that was based on an expectation. He said he was going to, well, fuck, he might not even have lied in the moment. It was true, but stuff shifts, and life changes, and life out here is always moving and changing. And we're like trying to hold on to the pieces of what we thought were the little gems, and they were little gems in that moment, and instead of enjoying having had that experience, we're like, yeah, we use it to beat ourselves and paint a victim story, and so that's when I speak about either love or God, and even though they seem to be interchangeable, we talk about God as love, and it's a bit, hard to speak of in some ways because everybody has such a different idea of it, but I think that love, though, when we're in the moment, permeates.
It's an energy.
Yeah, it really is, so God and love, the moment, presence is all one. And no matter what the story is going on in my head, about whether the financial system in the world's going to collapse, whatever, those things don't affect that oneness place. It's not affected by anything. Like our friend Muji says, right? Do you really listen to him quite a bit?
Of course, yeah, I do.
Nice.
Yeah, you introduced me to that.
Yeah, I'm still like an hour or two
Oh, I'm not like
a day.
that. Sometimes I have to like a good deep book. I have to just listen to a little bit, digest it.
Yeah, well, I don't actually spend much time digesting. He's just going, and stuff goes, oh my gosh, wow, and I have this idea that Muji and where he lives, the principles, are very high vibration. That in Hawkins' language, Muji probably vibrates in the high 500s or 600. And when he's at his satsang, it's in there. So I don't actually have to try to understand what he's saying. I just like to bask in the vibration. I'm like, like years ago, I used to sleep with Hawkins' books.
Okay.
Because they're, in the Bhagavad Gita, this one that we're going to read coming up in the first week of October, we're going to start to read the Bhagavad Gita online. So get yourself a copy, will you? Hawkins said that this book vibrates at over 900. But it's not the words, it's the whole thing. So when we read this together, it does affect our own vibration,
For sure.
helps to lift us up.
Mhm.
And another example of that is when he measured the vibration of Alcoholics Anonymous, it was at unconditional love. The two belief systems on the planet, he said, were the highest vibrating belief systems, spiritual belief systems, were Tibetan Buddhism and the steps of, the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And so that's why when I first came in, I started going to recovery meetings, to 12-step meetings. I would go, I couldn't read the book. I was just a mess. I was a mess. I couldn't put ideas together. I was so full of anger and guilt and shame, and it was just a mess. But I would go sit in a meeting, and often I would go to 2 or 3 a day, and I'd come out of there, and the vibration in the meeting, would be very high, maybe just in the 500s, and I'd be like, wow, I don't know what happened, but I come in here, I was angry, screaming in the car, and now I'm
You'll often get sleepy listening to Moochie.
Yes.
You know?
Well, he talks though about how the body will sometimes want to put you to sleep so you don't. He talks about ego is a formidable foe, and it's
Yeah.
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 he's a formidable foe, cunning, baffling, and powerful. And we know where that comes from. Bill Wilson talks about it. He labeled it that alcohol was cunning, baffling, powerful, but he's really talking about the true addiction, which was to selfishness and self-centeredness. And so once the substance was gone, we had to deal with this. And I would sit in meetings, and I go like 2 or 3 a day, and the only thing that kept me from jumping off the friggin' bridge, and anyway. So yeah, being in the vibration of are you going to read the book with us?
Yeah, I have the book.
Nice. That's going to be fun
Mhm.
for us all to. I'm looking forward to that. So meditation, which is, we kind of talk about that we come together to do that. I like this that we did tonight, a little more of, sharing with each of us, talking a bit more. And last week, it was kind of our first week back, and I think I talked nonstop for an hour and 20 minutes. Nobody else got to say anything. So I'm glad to do it this way. And just ran on, didn't I?
It's good. It's good.
It all happens as it should, right?
Yes. So I'm glad though to have some interaction, and I wanted to do this more. And I like when I watch what Muji's doing, and I mean Muji is an amazing. He sees, and but it having something to people to connect with and bounce this off of makes this Monday evening thing work, I think. So hopefully we have people start coming on a regular basis and more people. Yeah, that's my little plan. And okay, should we meditate?
Mhm.
Okay, are you comfortable?
Oh, towards the end.
I am, yeah.
Are you? Who wants to set their timer? Should we do 15 minutes?
Sure.
Okay. We set the timer, and we're gonna. So you guys out there in Neverland, we're gonna meditate, and I might say a few words to kind of bring us into a space, and a little bit of, I don't want to call it direction, but encouragement or working together. And so if you'd like to follow along, get comfortable. And did we set a timer?
Yeah.
Okay. And get yourself comfortable. Maybe I like the idea of having our feet on the ground, but also if we're sitting with our legs crossed, that's perfect too. However you sit is fine. And just to bring ourselves into our breath. And the breath is such a beautiful tool for bringing us into the moment. And we just breathe in, bring our attention to our breath. And our attention is in our breath. We're not thinking. We're not thinking at all. We're just here in our breath. Make sure that you're comfortable. Feel wherever you're sitting. Just bring your attention to your bum, wherever it's sitting, all the way down. As our breath comes in, and breathe right into our bellies. And our attention down into our bum, and just down into our feet, all the way down. So we're really in our bodies. Bring your attention to your feet as we sit here. And then into your calves. Just imagine that you're white light. I love doing this, just a little visualization that there's energy flowing up through your feet, into your calves, into your knees. It's just beautiful light. We are light beings. To our thighs, the energy is flowing in into our feet, our calves, our knees. You just feel every cell in our legs just opening up and expanding, relaxing. And that white light and that energy, that attention into our hips, into our sphincter, into our bum, into our bellies, into our organs. Feel everything full of white light. So that light just all kind of pools in the bottom, right into our bum, the lower bellies, and then starts to vibrate up our back. Just feel that energy and that light and our attention as it rolls up our spine. And as it goes up our spine, the rest of our body just fills with it, filled with beautiful light. Our lungs, our bellies, our hearts. And just feel that energy moving into our shoulders. And as it runs down into our hands and through our wrists and our elbows. Just glowing, open, expanded, beautiful light. As we're totally full of that light, it starts to roll up in our neck. Our shoulders are just relaxed and dropping. The energy and the light and the love moves into our head, to our skull, to our jaw. Light beings, full of light, into our brain, into our pineal gland, into the center of our forehead. And just feel that light as it passes through the top of our skull. We're totally full of it. Passes through the top. And it's going up through the ceiling. We're connected. We're one with everything. And as it gets up, it just opens up like an umbrella. Totally comes back around and wraps us in this light. We just sit with this. If thoughts come, just let them go like a cloud, totally wrapped in this light, totally one with all light. Remember to breathe. Take your time. Take your time. Wow. Sweetheart. Thanks, you guys, for joining us. I'm just going to say goodbye to these people. And hopefully you enjoyed your meditation. And join us. We're on every morning. I used to do it at 9 o'clock every day. Now I'm happy if I get it done by noon. But
It's a big jump.
mm,
A big jump. 3 hours.
I'm happy if I get the last 2 days. I was happy to get it done anytime yesterday. So, but watch for us. We're live. And we'll do a reading from a book called the 24-Hour Day Book. And join us in that. And then back next Monday, we'll be doing this again. And you're welcome. And if you're in Calgary, you're welcome to come and visit here at the house and join us here. And so that's it. We're going to say goodbye. You guys can all say goodbye. Bye. Bye. There we go. Okay, love you, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.